You talked about drawing shadow last time. Can you talk about drawing light today?
Showing shadows and light. You could never separate light and shadow, right? They'll always be together. Actually, the way I'm doing my work is cross-hatching, and all the light part of the work, like the forehead of a figure, of the nose or chin or the chest, under the light, very bright and shining, right? I actually do not draw the light there at all, but I draw the shadows. So as the picture growing and growing, and the shadows looks darker and darker, and so the light is the light to the little bit gray area where it looks like shining, and it's the whitest white in the world. Maybe Snow White. No, Snow White is kind of bluish. The white in my drawing is kind of yellowish, kind of you can feel the passage of time, like the color of an old black and white photo is kind of a little bit yellowish and kind of getting bruised by time. So you can never separate light from shadows. They always be together, and always there's a Sognand gray area, Sognand called Terminator. It's a funny name, I think. It's hard to say the Terminator belongs to the light part or belongs to the dark part. I prefer to think about it like a connection between the light and shadow, or you can say it's a wall, but the wall sounds bad. How about let's say the Terminator is a connection. It connects light and the shadow together to be an entire subject, an entire thing in front of your eyes. There are different ways to show the light. The one I was telling you just now was to show the shadows. Also, there's important thing help you to show the light is the environment. I do a sample for you. This is your paper. This is your paper, okay? You're drawing a triangle. One second. You're drawing a triangle subject, right? Imagine the light comes this way. So the shadows will go the opposite way. Of course, you need to draw the shadows of this subject, as well as the little following shadow on the floor. So you see it's turning back, right? It has volume now. But more important is what if you make the background darker? So it looks different, right? So you have the lightest light, and you have the darkest dark, some part of the object, and some part of the shadow. Also, you have the color in the background. It's never be totally white. So there shouldn't be a line here. Should be a contrast, white and gray, or darker part of Terminator. So not funny name here. So basically, you need to draw the shadows of the subject on the subject. Also, the shadows be projected on the floor, also the environment. You need to observe very carefully because it's not a flat gray color. For example, the light coming in from this edge, right? The light is here. So the background must look very different. This part here, kind of on the desk. So there are subtle differences of the gray areas. It's very, very gentle and very, very subtle. But I think that's the most beautiful part of rendering an object, rendering the illusion of light and shadow. That's almost like an endless comparison. Which one is darker? Which one is lighter? How light it should be, or how dark it should be. This is relatively simple. What if there's another object? If there's another object here, right? The light coming in this way, and shadows go the opposite way. And the thing has a shape, a shadow has a similar shape, a deformed shape from the main actor here. So if there are two objects here, what's the difference between this one and this one? So should this part a lot darker than this part here, or they are very similar? What's the difference between them and the background between and here? What's the difference between here and here? Because this area, kind of the background, belong to the triangle subject, and this area kind of belong to the shadowy part of this subject. So when there are two objects in the picture, or a lot more objects, how do you find the order in this puzzled world? There is an order of the light and the shadow. You will find very clear idea about the order from the lightest light to the darkest dark. It's kind of tiresome at the beginning when you're training yourself to analyze or tell yourself, oh, the light is here, which part is the lightest, and then grow darker and darker and darker to the extreme point to be the darkest dark. But after a while, after enough training, you will be very self-confident. You almost do it without analyzing anymore. It's kind of your almost your instinct. Like if you learn how to ride a bicycle, right? At the beginning, you may fall, or you may couldn't control directions, kind of mistakes, and then you, when you're really good at it, you just tell yourself, oh, I go to the McLean subway station, I just go there. So you even forget you're riding the bicycle anymore. So it's really all the same to a drawing. You practice a lot, analyze very coolly and very peacefully, looking at the objects in front of your eyes, and tell yourself the mystery of it, what is it, and how should I translate, how could I convey what I see, what I feel. So it's like a riding bicycle thing, and at the beginning you will ride it slowly and carefully, and then you'll be very free, kind of free, like you're riding a bicycle, like flying. How to express that? I like my bicycle a lot, and I enjoy how it feels when riding it. It's kind of similar as drawing. You will forget, and you do not feel bad because it's already become part of your instinct to do the right decision decision and give the right response to certain situations in terms of drawing. There are many difficulties enough for me to deal with, so many difficulties, but it's all right. I look at it as learning a bicycle. As long as I could conquer it, I could control it well, I can do my own work. This period would be about 2 years to solve some difficulties in drawing, to search for some answers I want to know. Sometimes I look at people's work, masters' work, or contemporary artists, great artists' work, and I found part of my answers. But be honest, really honest, I know I have to do it myself. I have to keep drawing and search for the answer for myself, no matter how bad or how good it is. It will tell by time. Like I look back all these years, what I'm doing, keep drawing, keep thinking about drawing, keep looking at other people's work, look at my own work, previous works, and I constantly doubt myself and denied myself, and actually that's not denied, making progress, because your thinking ability is stronger and the depth of your thinking is a lot deeper, really deeper. Sometimes get lost because you're trying to dive in the sea and you want to find the dolphin there, and sometimes you will be so desperate and kind of but you tell yourself you should keep drawing, you should keep doing it, it's meaningful. It's too far away from your question about the shadows. And the one thing about the shadows is a lot more difficult. It's not what I was telling you was something superficial thing about drawing shadows, volumes, hue, not hue. If it's a colorful drawing, there is a hue, local color kind of things. Actually, I want to tell you that everything I do or you do with shadows, with backgrounds, with shining little lights, it's all about the atmosphere of the drawing, about the mood, how you feel that day. If it's a clear sky with winter afternoon sunshine, how you feel about that moment, that is more crucial and more difficult to convey through the superficial shadows thing. You almost may get lost in this this puzzled world, but you will, if you're really in it, you will love it. It's a completely different world from reality, from art world, from art history, from families, pressure, from best friends, friendship, from lovers, feelings, whatever, anything else beautiful or troublesome or tiresome or suffocate you, go away from this world. Not go away, fading away, you will forget. And you just in your drawing, and that's the most beautiful, most peaceful space I ever found in this world, in this time being I'm living right here. It's tricky when you are looking at a work. The brightest part will attract your eyes immediately. You will look at the most bright part first. It's shining, it's beautiful, it's graceful, it's elegant, it's every possible wonderful words you could describe it, the bright part. But actually, if you looking back the entire working process, you know how important the shadows are, how you render it with the shadows to show the light part. But actually the light part didn't labor much. But it's okay, it's what it has to happen, it will happen that way. So I tell myself that just never complain and never blame yourself if the bright part doesn't look bright enough, probably because the shadowy part is not sufficient, or the gray color in the background is not proper. Proper is a difficult, critical word. How about the atmosphere is not quite right. I try to find out what's beyond the drawing, beyond the technical skills, fundamental training. I try to find out what's beyond it to make you feel different from a work. And then the more I searching for it, the more I kind of feel all difficulties could be conquered in terms of the drawing. No matter is technical difficulties or psychological range, it could be conquered by hard working. I'm by doing fundamental trainings for years, I realized that hard working honestly and doing experiments constantly, and don't be afraid of trying new materials or new methods. It's the best teacher ever in the world. No matter your work is based on life model, or you only could afford photos, or you would like to do abstract work, that's really okay. But the best teacher is to keep drawing and conquer all the difficulties you met during the working day. And the most beautiful dream, the most beautiful secret garden is not in a beautiful garden in a rich place. It's in your drawing. It's your own little garden, and it's your work, your own pencil. You look at your pencil box, how you feel about it. And when the leaves goes off, when the entire leaves within this pencil used up, I need to refill it, and I feel good because I'm still working, and I feel safe when I keep refill the leaves into this pencil. Actually, I have a question. What if it's really flat and really almost no shadows? What you do? What if the room is a lot darker? There's no brightest bright, no lightest light. Everything grayer and darker. Everything be kind of degraded, not degraded. Everything darker in a darker room. What do you do? So it's like unexpected situation. What you do? I guess I would do it with my instinct and snooze all my knowledge and put down all my experiences and freeze all my art history knowings. Just be in that moment and observe and feel and try to depict what's in front of me, no matter it's a good expression or it's a misunderstanding, is totally okay. One good One good way to exercise shadow drawings is to do cast drawing. Start from some very simple shapes like a triangle shape or a cube, and then you may do a portrait. Like if this is a sculpture, how to do shadows on sculptures. Portrait, and then you can do entire figure sculpture, Rodin sculpture. Later on, do groups of figures, like this one. There are 4 people there, right? There are 4 figures in this work. So control it carefully. Make sure it's easy enough to get started. Make sure it's not too scared. Drawing is a difficult thing. If you make the beginning too hard, you may get scared and run away. But that's some personal decisions, not my problem. One suggestion for our lovers who would like to practice shadows is to do line drawings. Why do line drawings? In order to make the shadows drawings better, because line drawings, especially in a sketch way, is a very good way to practice your ability to catch a form and be accurate. And then when you do the shadows need to be on the right location, on the right places. You need to do the right thing at the right places at the right time being. So everything must be there at the right time, right place, right location, right shape. And a very desperate thing is, no matter how hard you're working on it, no matter how much time you invested in it, no matter how eager you would like to draw better, it may disappoint you, and you may still feel, oh, I couldn't, it's too hard. I did my best, but it's still not yet. There's only one reason for that. That's because you lack of practice. If you do another one, gradually you will build up your self-confidence, and you will know how to control it. The gradation will be very beautiful. Line drawing. Could you show drawings? If you practice line drawings with this board, you may draw this line, right? And then you draw this hole. And then when you draw this line, you compare it with this one. What's the difference? Oh, there's a narrow shadow going down. So you will see, oh, this line is clear and sharp and thin and fragile and harder. I don't know how to say it. Compared to this one, there's a shadow going along with it, and the shadow has some fuzzy quality. So there's a difference. You will notice the difference between this one and this one. So that's a very good practice for line drawing and shadow drawing at the beginning point. I remember when I was a child, when I was little, I did line drawings with bicycles a lot. Line drawings with bicycle, draw the bicycle from all different directions, and draw 2 bicycles, draw a group of bicycles. It's really a great exercise for practicing line drawing. If you look at some masterpieces who are good at line drawings, they never separated the line from the shadows, especially when the form is turning back. For example, you draw a portrait of a beautiful lady, and draw her elegant arms turning back, the shoulders turning back. The line becomes fuzzy and thicker, and it goes together with the shadowy part. So you could never separate line drawings from shadow drawings. They are all part of the same drawing language. Right now, what I'm doing, I'm making the picture really flat, but I never forget the overall control of the entire work. I turn the picture this way. The only reason for it is because I need to do cross-hatching this way. But I know the task for this moment, what I have to do for this area. I just need to make it a little bit darker without paying attention to little forms yet. So I'm really clear knowing what I'm doing and try my best to make the cross-hatching flat like a looming machine. Hopefully one day I could work that way, make it as peacefully as possible. That's pretty much what I have in my mind right now.
Thank you.
When you're asking me about how to expressing light in artwork, the one coming to my mind is Latour. He painted the beautiful shadows and shining candles in orange-red way. A red candle with orange light. It's very, very beautiful. I could never forget his work. And then another one comes into my mind is the mystery lighting master Rembrandt. Let's see some of his work. There is a ink drawing called The Prodigal Son. The bad boy come back home, kneeling in front of his old father and little brother sit next to it. And it's very bright. It's a very bright shining light in this picture. The light on the head of the father, the light on the main actors, the light on this little wall here, the light on the front part of the picture. You will see it's just the whiteness of the paper itself, but how he made it, because the shadows on the figure itself, the shadows behind the figures here, the shadows underneath the feet, as well as the shadows in the dark room, in the background, the shadows here. So he showed the light by depicting the shadows, and you will see the differences between all these shadows, like the shadows on the father's head, on the shoulders, on his head, and what the difference between this one and this part. So there's a lot to do to show lights by depicting the shadowy part. Let's look at a painting he did. And the painting. Would you show this one, please? No, this one. This one. Yeah, this is a self-portrait about when he was about 60 years old, I guess. He's a master of using light, magic lighting. You almost can feel the light is right on top of his forehead, and how it changes from the lightest light becomes darker and darker and darker to the brown jacket. But it's not white like paper, not the white like here, different from his ink drawings or etchings, but he never forget the local color of the skins when the light on the skin looks yellower, or looks orange, or looks brown. So it's really all the same. You want to show the light, but you always need the darker shadows in this apple area. Also the background. What if the background is white? What if the background is a lot brighter? So probably the forehead wouldn't be that bright anymore. Or what if the background is pink, or it's light blue, or it's green, Vincent Van Gogh, he did his portrait by showing the background is bluish or greenish, or even with little flowers, little patterns, what he learned from the Japanese printing. How about that? How do you feel about that kind of style? You may say it's a different style, but I'm trying to say, take example from this great master. You always hopefully to show the light with shadows. But this portrait, what this portrait moved me is his glances. He did this portrait later in his year, not when he was really successful and really rich and supported by local rich buyers. After his masterpiece, The Night Watch, his life changed dramatically, and he was in poverty, and he did tons of self-portraits. This one is one of portraits. You may see his eyes, his glances. You can feel his strength and his self-confidence, and you almost can imagine an artist still working there. It's a brave hero for me. He's a hero. He encouraged me a lot. This one's a lot different when he was really high. Let's change some other pages. There's a there's a good example about how to practice line drawings and shadows. It's a little sketch, a small drawing. I guess he started with line drawings first, and then used ink to do the shadows. It's important to practice a lot with small drawings, and then you could have enough ability to manage a big picture, because there's a lot to do, and because when a figure is only 1 inch, it's kind of not too hard, or maybe harder, but about it's 1 meter high. It's 1 meter or 40 inches or 60 inches figure like this big. It would be a lot different. That's pretty much what I have right now.